Hey y'all, I am here to give you guys my June reading wrap up as well as my July hopefuls. June was actually a pretty good month. I've read 5 books, one on my Kindle, one audio, and 3 physicals. So I'm actually extremely proud of myself to get through physical books this month because it's been a tough few weeks. I'm not gonna lie, just because summer has started. Work is just picking up in a way that I was just not expecting. So trying to get my mental right has been my main priority. So reading has been kind of on the back burner, but I'm so glad June I was still able to get through 5 books. And I hope with July, now that I've kind of gotten a hold of things, I hope to get through even more books this month. But the first book I read in June was Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. We follow Aaliyah James, who is basically on the hunt to finding a man for her 30th birthday party. After basically being bullied by her family for how she looks, her weight, her personality, and her lack of a man, she is determined to prove them wrong. That she is beautiful the way she is, the size she is, her personality has nothing to do with why she doesn't have a man. And she's just gonna pop out and show them. That was so Oh, that was so corny. Anyway, but yeah, she's gonna pop out on her 30th birthday with the man that she's been telling her family she has. But little do they know, she really doesn't have a man. So we follow her during the 6 weeks of summer where she's just finding a man, going on different dates with different men. And she's always doing it at her hotspot bar where bartender Ahmed works. And they soon kind of create this back and forth playful friendship that can soon turn to be romantic. But I gave it 3 stars because one, I felt like we followed too much of the dating, like her dating the other men. So when the romance at the end actually happened, I felt like it wasn't fully fleshed out. I do like the concept of like each chapter, it was a new man, a new date, a new setting, new vibes. So I'm not knocking that. I just was like, we went from having 10 dates and then kind of like at the end, we're rushing to kind of be like, this is who she ended up with. It's so full fledged when it felt like it wasn't. I also hated her family, even her parents, as much as they were like, we really aren't that bad compared to like your cousins and your uncles. I just didn't like how they often compared her to her sister who has passed away. I didn't like the negative connotations they had about her weight and how she looked. I know that that was supposed to be like, yeah, I'm bossing up on them. I don't need them. And I was like, girl, you don't. And I was so upset that no one ever defended her in those moments when they would ridicule her in public. I just felt like it was a lot. And I'm sure that that was the intentions of the author. I'm sure to make you feel very uncomfortable and have like this reaction to the comments. But for me, it was just like a lot. Overall, it was a pretty cute summer read. I would definitely recommend for like a vacation, a beach trip, like or like you're at a resort or somewhere. It's definitely that summer vibe. So my second read of June was Audrey and Bash Are Just Friends by Tia Williams. I ate this up. I annotated like crazy. This is like my third or fourth Tia Williams book. She's honestly one of my tried and true authors that I will always read. This is her first young adult book. It follows Audrey, who is actually Eva's daughter from 7 Days in June. And we follow her going into her senior year of high school as she's writing college essays, specifically for Stanford. And she's trying to make herself stand out like anyone would applying to college. So she decides to write a self help book. But when she realizes she doesn't really know how to have fun, she consults Bash, who is a recent graduate of the school that she attends. He's fairly new, though, to the city and to the school. He had moved 6 months before he graduated there. So, though he's super new, he's very popular already. He has this mysterious vibe that nobody can ever figure out, who he is, why he is the way he is. And that is the lore that kind of leads her to asking him to help her have fun. So we follow them on the summer before her senior year, just trying to have fun and check things off her bucket list that she created. And honestly, Yeah, I ate this up. I love a good young adult black romance, and it was so funny, so cute, so romantic, but also very deep at the same time. And Tia did such an amazing job at like weaving in the serious moments with the funny moments and making it all kind of like connect very well. Audrey does struggle with anxiety. I do as well. So to see that representation in this way where she works through her anxiety, like she overworks herself to not allow herself to get into that mindset of like, okay, I'm about to have a panic attack. Like she's a perfectionist at heart. I believe she's a Virgo. She's an earth sign. So we're sister signs because I'm a Taurus. And so I totally understand that like everything kind of has to be a certain way. I like to do things this way, but also though she is an older sister, which that plays into the dynamics as to why she's a little upset about how her summer turned out anyway. She is definitely parentified due to her mother's chronic illness. So we kind of see how that also plays into her anxiety and how she interacts with not only her parents and her step parents, but also like her friends and her peers. But I gave this 5 out of 5 stars if I didn't say so already. I would definitely reread this. It gave me the same vibes that Forever on Netflix did. Just that young puppy love where you kind of feel like it's just you and that person. I just will always recommend this. This is so cute. My third read of June was No Ordinary Love by Maya Ariel. I annotated this like crazy, but I did give it 3.5 stars. Surprisingly, I know. I actually liked a lot of moments, but it still kind of fell flat for me. But this was my annotation key, so I did like my favorite Ella and Miles moments, my favorite heart eyes or cute moments, standout lines moments, and then just like miscellaneous. So like anything else that kind of like stood out but didn't have a specific category. I really enjoyed this book. It just wasn't like, oh, head over heels. We follow Miles Westbrook and Ella Simone. Miles is a Major League Baseball player, and Ella Simone is a major pop star R&B singer. And so they are at this award show, and she actually has like a wardrobe malfunction, and he kind of saves the day, like a true gentleman. He saves the day, and they go on with the award show. But from there, it's up. But the downside is Ella is actually going through a brutal divorce behind the scenes. So a lot of people don't know in the public eye that she's going through a divorce with her husband slash producer, who I don't know his name, so he won't be named. And Miles is kind of caught in the middle, naturally. You don't want to overstep because she's just getting in through a divorce that is also dragging contractual agreements up that she signed years prior, prenups that were signed. You know, her husband is trying to get the rights of her music, the rights of her brand, the rights of her name. So while she's dealing with the stress of that, Miles is trying not to overstep, but he really does want to pursue her romantically. So that's where I kind of gave it 3.5 because she's going through a divorce, so I can't expect the romance to pick up and be super quick. But I felt like it kind of was rushed when it happened because you had to give that time with the divorce in mind. So I understand the author's like probably perspective of like, okay, if I did give them a relationship in chapter 3, y'all would be mad. But I kind of was just like, I don't know. I kind of wish it ended where they kind of just dove into their relationship. Not like for the sake of a sequel, but just like out of being realistic. Or it could have just been a little longer. Like, I think it literally hit 300 pages and it was done. And I don't mind a 400-page romance if it's done, right. It was a lot of pop culture references, so I don't know if if you don't like that, you might not really enjoy it. But I felt like it was fitting because she's a pop star, so pop culture, pop star, I felt like it needed to be relevant to the times. And it wasn't too dated with the lingo and the slang that was used. My fourth book of June was King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. I ate this book up. I annotated this, and I actually listened to the audiobook as well as read the physical, so I kind of toggled between the two. And I read this in one day, like like, oh my gosh. I did buddy read this with my friend Haley. She had texted me like, girl, this is getting good already. And I was like, I hadn't even started. So I had to jump on it so I could keep up with her for our chat. I think from our chat, we could write a whole dissertation about King of Ashes, because the way S.A. Cosby writes his male characters, but his leads, is amazing. Like, he gets you so invested that even when they're doing the craziest things, you kind of still give them some grace. You give them some, okay, I kind of get why he did that. Now, in this book, you know, most of his characters are morally gray, but this Roman Carruthers, you, my friend, are a bad man. I like halfway through, I had to stop defending you. I had to stop giving you the maybe it's this excuse. Maybe it's the trauma speaking. No. Even if it was, like, the things that Roman was ending up doing, it was very antagonistic. Is that a word? Am I using that right? Very antagonistic. It was very like, are you the villain now? Like, I'm confused. I thought you were the protagonist. I thought you were the hero. So there were some things that I was just like, whoa. But to give a brief spiel, because I feel like I'm saying things with no context, which honestly I think is the best way to go into any S.A. Cosby book. But for the sake of the video, I will give you a brief synopsis. We follow Roman Carruthers. He's a financial advisor in Atlanta, very successful. And as the saying goes, he makes money, make money. So you're guaranteed to get your money back tenfold with Roman. So he finds out that his father is in a coma due to a hit and run. And when he returns back to his hometown in Jefferson Run, he's met with his sister Nevaeh and Dante, distraught from their father being put into a coma. What he later finds out is his younger brother Dante owes some really bad people a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money. And so Roman is determined to make money. He's determined to save his family, you know, pay back the debt of his brother, and low-key, high-key, avenge for his father. So we see him go from like, I'm just here to, you know, pay off my brother's debt and avenge my father respectfully. And then we see the line. This is the line. Roman. We see Roman go over that line quite a few times in the defense of family. And that's where I want to stop, because I don't want to give it too much away, but just know you're going to be hanging on the edge of your seat. You're going to be turning the page constantly, looking for like, what's next? There was so many things happening. I had to break the fourth wall multiple times. And I created an annotation key. So I had one that was red for crazy moments. And then Burgundy was interesting sibling dynamics, because I love a good family, dysfunctional family book. I don't like dysfunction in real life, but in books, best believe I do. And again, S.A. Cosby did it so well. All of them had so many things that me and Haley unpacked together when we had our conversation. I have a sociology degree, so I was in my element. So yeah, anyway, let me get off the soapbox about this. I gave this 5 stars. This was a 5 out of 5 if you couldn't tell by how I was talking. And my last one that I read was an audiobook called I'm Still Here by Channing Austin Brown. It was a memoir about Austin and her discovery of racism and how it affects her, just from learning the history behind her name. Her parents, she's a black woman, by the way. Their parents named her Austin Channing Brown because they wanted, when she would come of age to apply for jobs, they wanted employers to assume she was a white man, so she had a better chance of getting into the room. And from there, it created this snowball effect for her, where she was so interested in uncovering her racial identity in a predominantly white area, in a predominantly white neighborhood, and attending a predominantly white church. So in this book, she talks about racial identity, Christianity, and how she's kind of stepped into her own and reclaiming her racial identity while also addressing the ignorance of white people. I gave it 4 stars. There were a few moments that I kind of was like, definitely grew up in a predominantly white area. She definitely did. I grew up in a predominantly black and brown area, so my experience is very different from hers. And I wasn't around a lot of white people until I went to college. So, you know, where my mind was at was very different from where hers was, because she grew up in a predominantly white area most of her life. So, you know, she would say things like, I wish I was that black girl, the neck rolling, neck popping, hand, you know, like she was saying that. And I was like, girl, what? And I wish she just said, like, I wish I was more confident in speaking up for myself and advocating for myself. I felt like her being very descriptive and using those like stereotypical mannerisms. And if you don't, you know, like she would say that. And I'm like, you're losing me. You're losing me. And I'm only speaking like this because I grew up in a predominantly black area, like I just said. And I am definitely not it just felt like she still unconsciously had that bias that if you grew up in a predominantly black area, in a predominantly black space, that's your character automatically. And I just felt like, no, girl, it's not. So I did give it her 4, not 5 stars. I thought overall it was a pretty good read. It's definitely entry level. So if you're like really getting into social sciences, delving into race and gender and privilege, I definitely would recommend it. That was my reads for June. I feel like I was rambling a lot, so hopefully with this next part, I'm not as long-winded. Books I want to read in July, my July hopefuls. I actually put a poll on my Instagram for my followers to like let me know what I should read. First one is Woman, Race, and Class by Angela Y. Davis. This is actually a coffee table book I have that I have not read. It's one of the few that I still had sitting up there that I haven't gotten to, so I was like, I need to. It just says it's a historical study of how 3 themes of the title became entangled in the growth of American society, given resonance by Ms. Davis's insights into current women's issues and concerns. So just talking about whiteness and the elitism of feminism through the lens of women, race, and class. I'm excited. I love anything written by Angela Y. Davis. She's a great, great writer, and anything she says, I usually pick up something that sticks with me. My second book I would like to read in July is Blood at the Root by Ladarian Williams. This is about hoodoo in Louisiana, if I'm correct. We follow Malik, who goes to Kamen University, which is a university that really helps him hone into his magical abilities. And it talks about how his family history predates the Haitian Revolution. And honestly, this cover itself is what got me. I follow Ladarian on Instagram, and he already has the second book out or coming soon, which is Blood at the Crossroads. And honestly, I've been into a lot of the spirituality, hoodoo, and magic after watching Sinners, after rereading Legendborn series. I've just been really into my thinking cap. I want to learn more bag about hoodoo and spirituality, especially in the Deep South. So I'm really excited to dive into it. But also I'm excited because it's a Black young male lead. And I am really my goal is to read more Black male authors, but also read books with more Black male leads. So I'm excited for that. My third book I would like to read in July is When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. This is the same author who wrote No Ordinary Love. I've heard more good reviews about this one. No Ordinary Love has a lot of mixed reviews, but I've heard more good about this than bad. This is a second chance romance. We follow Kylia and Danny. Kylia is a film writer and Danny is a film director. and they actually end up working on a project together, and that kind of rekindles their passion for what they do, as well as the flame that was once died down for each other. So I'm really excited to get into this. My fifth read I would like to get into for July is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. We follow Hendrix, who is the entrepreneur, the it girl who makes all her dreams come true. And she meets tech mogul Maverick Bell, who is a billionaire, from what I heard. I have my thoughts on billionaires, but for the book's sake, I will let it go. Um, but yeah, so basically, he gives her the life that she wants and more, while also respecting her hustle and her ambitions and her dreams and goals. And she's also a child-free queen. So I'm very excited because I feel like we don't see too many books where there's someone who has explicitly said multiple times, I don't want children, and not in like this, I don't want children, and then everyone's like, what's wrong with you? You know, like I feel like it's, and I could be wrong, I haven't read the book yet, but I feel like it's been pretty well received that Hendrix does not want children, and not seen as this negative, like, what's wrong with her? She's not doing her womanly duty thing. You know what I mean? Also, it does talk about being a caretaker. Her mother has dementia. Dementia or Alzheimer's. The respect I have for anyone who takes care of anybody is up by 1,000. Like, you can't see it, but my hand's up here. Like, you deserve everything and more, because that is a hard job to do, but also such, I'm sure, like, it's taxing physically and emotionally and mentally, but I think also there's a part of it that's just like, there's a different kind of love that you get when you're taking care of someone that you love. Anyway, that is the fourth book I want to read in July. And then the fifth book that I'm actually currently reading is on my Kindle, Whispers of the Lake by Shanora Williams. This is a mystery thriller, psychological thriller. I'm on chapter 10, and I feel like we're finally like dipping our toe into the thriller aspect of the book. It was a lot of unpacking and world building going on, so I'm excited to see where that takes me. But I feel like I've been rambling, and I hope that this mic is connected and working, because if not, I don't think this part of the video is going to get refilmed again. I have filmed this 3 times. Sorry, I'm getting on my soapbox one more time. I filmed this video 3 times. Usually I can do one in one go. But because of the audio thing, I really don't want to keep putting out videos where I keep putting the disclaimer of like, sorry, my air is making noise, because that's annoying. And, you know, when I rewatch my videos, I watch as a viewer, and I really want it to be a great video that you guys can sit and experience without being like, girl, I can't hear her. Click out. Because I understand, like, as a viewer, I would do the same thing. If I couldn't hear you, or if I had to turn you up to a 60 to 100 volume because I can't hear you, I'm just going to click out and watch someone who I can hear on 20. That's just the reality. So I'm trying my best to invest in the channel by getting a mic set up. So I really hope it works out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I have either read in June or I plan to in July. Leave your comments down below. I really appreciate you guys liking and subscribing to my videos. The last 2 weeks I have not been posting. I hope to have 2 videos for you guys ready for the next Wednesdays coming. I'm trying to get on a routine where I kind of film in advance and get to editing, but the audio thing, the air thing, everything has kind of been holding me up work. But I really hope now that I have this set up, I can really give y'all some quality videos. And I hope to vlog more. Vlogging with my mom and this Barnes & Noble video that I'm sure will be up either before or after this really helped. She really hyped me up, like, girl, you have the camera, you have the setup. Why are you not filming? What are you nervous about? So really give her some claps in that video, because she really helped me get over my fear of like being perceived in public and filming in public. It can be very like nerve-wracking, especially because I don't want anyone to think I'm filming them or make anyone else uncomfortable. But I really want you guys to see what I'm doing, because I'm having fun. So anyway, enough rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books mentioned, and see you in the next one.